No, not another JavaScript framework, please. Don't we have enough of those? But what if I told you that this isn't actually a framework, it's a compiler? Mind blow. Alright, hello class, and welcome to this video where we learn about what Svelte is and then use it to create an app that implements full CRUD functionality by using an API that I created a while ago for a video, to which a link is in the description, and the link for that API as well will be in the description. More on that later. So what is Svelte and what makes it different to the other ones? So like Angular, React, and Vue, Svelte is a UI framework for creating component-based single-page applications. The catch is that Svelte takes a different approach in that it doesn't have framework code that's actually bundled with your application. It actually goes over your code in build time and then compiles all of your code into instructions written in purely JavaScript, leading to a very lean bundle size, because later your bundle wouldn't have any code that's relevant to Svelte itself. It's just your own code that you have. And Svelte as well takes a reactive approach when re-rendering your DOM, and it doesn't have a virtual DOM. So it doesn't work by rather comparing a virtual DOM to an actual DOM and then seeing the difference and then re-rendering the difference. Instead, it watches over a couple of variables that you define, and then whenever any of those change, it actually re-renders the DOM. So they take great pride in that it takes less code. Doing the same thing, you could do the same thing in React and do it in Svelte, and it will be less code when you write it in Svelte. You can actually go here to learn more and write less code, and you will see a couple of examples. They show that, for example, this is with these two fields and calculating the sum between them. This is what it would look like if you would write it in React using hooks, and then this is what it would look like if you write it in Svelte. And I've played around with Svelte, and it's actually pretty cool how less code you get to write, and even like the template syntax itself is very minimal, and it's got some really cool features. Now this doesn't mean it's going to replace React or anything. React still has a lot of like improvements during the runtime and some other cool features that are in the bundle itself. So yeah, I guess it's up to your preference. Now if you are saying now I want to learn more about Svelte, you can go to svelte.dev rather and learn more about it. And if you want to like understand like the idea behind it and the philosophy behind it, I highly recommend this talk by Rich Harris, the guy that made the framework himself. This talk is called Rethinking Reactivity. I'll put a link to this as well in the description. It's a really cool talk that kind of explains why Svelte was made. Alright, so this is the application that we're going to build in this video. So it's got these posts, it's pulling them from the API, so it's fetching these posts and showing them here. And we can add some more new posts, so we can click add here using that form, and we'll actually submit it to a server and fetch the response back. And if we reload, it's still there because of the way the API works. We can as well edit these, like just type some other gibberish here and click update, and it will be edited. And we can delete these posts, we can limit the number of posts, and we have this navbar right here, and we have like 2 pages that we can navigate between, just to show you like how to do routing in Svelte. So the idea behind this app is that you get to learn some of the core things that you would do in most front-end applications, like handling forms, consuming a full CRUD API, and routing as well. So let's actually jump into the code. Alright, so on the Svelte main page, let's go down and get this npx command from here. Let's copy this, and I'll go to my desktop and open up a terminal window and paste this command. And we don't have to name it my Svelte project, we can name it anything. I'll just name it Svelte for now and hit enter. And then now we need to cd into it. Also I'll say cd svelte, and here we need to run npm install because it hasn't installed the dependencies yet. And I'll open it using VS Code and let it install. So if we look at the package.json, we notice that we have a couple of scripts, and we're going to use the dev script to build and run the app on a development server. And if you notice here, there isn't any dependencies, it's just dev dependencies, because it doesn't need any dependencies in production. It only needs them in build time to compile the app. So here, I think it's done installing. It has. Let's run npm run dev and see what our application looks like. Alright, it started already. So let's go to port 5000 here. And there we go, we just get a purple hello world. So let's look at our app. So we go to the source folder and we have this main.js that instantiates the new Svelte app and passes some props to the app Svelte, just to show you how props work. They did that. And here we get the prop, and here we put the prop inside the markup saying hello name. If you notice, if you change this name to hello YouTube or just YouTube, it will now say hello YouTube. All right, so let's get rid of these props because we're not going to use them. And let's get rid of this export let name and this style as well. And by the way, in Svelte, if you've worked with Vue, you're familiar with this kind of syntax. You have a script tag where you put your logic, you have a style tag where you put your styling, and you have your markup. The only difference here, you don't have a template tag, you just put your markup down here. And cool thing is, if you're using Prettier, and by the way, I recommend you get the Svelte, where is it? Right here, the Svelte VS Code extension to have syntax highlighting inside of your app, or I mean inside of your .svelte files. All right, let me close that, close this. Now, before we write any markup, I want to grab Materialize CSS, which is a cool CSS implementation of Google Material Design Standards. Let's go to Get Started. And here it tells us to install Materialize CSS at next, so let's do that. So here I stop the development server and say npm install Materialize -css at next, like this. Okay, now we need to link the CSS. We could link it here, we will, but by default, the build tool for the bundling tool for Svelte is Rollup instead of Webpack, and it comes with very minimal setup. So we need to actually install a plugin for this, for it to actually recognize CSS files inside of the Svelte files and bundle them into a CSS file in production. So here I'm going to install a Rollup plugin. So here I'll say npm install Rollup plugin CSS only, and say capital D for it to be a dev dependency. All right, now in the rollup config, I'm gonna add this import. Let's import that plugin. So let's say import CSS from rollup plugin CSS only, and then here underneath this Svelte call, we're gonna say CSS, we call that namespace that we imported, that function. And here for the options, we just pass output, and here we will pass a CSS file that would be all the bundled CSS that we pass to our app. So here I'll say public/extra.css. So what this plugin now will do, it will find any CSS that we inject into Svelte files and bundle all of it into this extra.css file, and it will be in the public right here. So we need to link it in our index.html. So here let's link it before our actual CSS. So here we'll say link, and we'll say the href will be extra.css, even though it doesn't exist yet, but it will. Let's change the title here. So it says Svelte tutorial. And let's save this, and let's go back to our app Svelte. Now we can actually import CSS into this Svelte file. So here we'll say import. Now that we have Materialize installed, we can say import. We go back one level to node modules. Node modules /materialize CSS /dist /css /materialize -css.min, or actually materialize.min.css, like this. And we can just copy this to get the JavaScript, and here we'll say /js, and here will be .min.js, like this. Now let's save everything, and let's run our app again. Let's say npm run dev. And now we see that it created this extra CSS, and it's got Materialize stuff, as you see here, and it's actually linked Materialize. And if we would look at our app, where is it? Right here. If we reload, we get that it's the header is now styled with Materialize style CSS header 1 styling. Cool. So we have Materialize linked. I want to start by putting a navbar at the top of the page to link to different pages. Now, of course, the about page is empty. I'm just using it to show you how to do routing in Svelte. So we're going to use this Svelte routing library because by default, the routing library doesn't come with Svelte. So this is how to use it. We need to run this command right here. So let's copy that and let's open up a new window, terminal window, and paste that command. So if we look at the library here, it tells us how to use it. It tells us to import these things from Svelte routing, so we can copy this. And let's go to our app.svelte. We can close these. We don't need them anymore. So here we will import these router and link and route from Svelte routing. And now we can set up our router here. So here we'll say router. And then here we will start to put our routes. But the way I want to do it, I want to put them in a navbar. I don't want to put them right here. I want to put the navbar in its own component. So let's go to, actually I closed it. Let's go to materialize CSS, go to components, and right here, navbar. Let's grab this nav tag and let's go back, copy that, and let's click here. Let's create rather a new component. And I'm going to put this in a folder called layout. So I'll say layout/navbar.svelte, and here we'll just paste that. Let's change logo to say Svelte tutorial, and let's change these. Let's just have 2 pages, so one would be the home page and one would be the about page, and we need to create these components as well. And now these shouldn't be A tags, they need to be links for our Svelte router to work. So here we'll change this anchor tag to link like this, link. Now of course we need to import it, so here we need to put our script tag, and here we will say import link from Svelte routing like this. Now we can use that, so we can change as well the brand to link like this. We need to add a to attribute instead of href, and this is the home, so we'll say to slash, and now we have this home link here as well, so we'll say to slash like this, and we will change this to a link. And this is the about page, so we'll say to slash about, and change this here to a link as well. Now let's go back to our app. Here we need to put our navbar, so we need to import it. So let's go here and say import navbar from, and on the same level we go to the layout folder and we get this navbar. And here of course we have to add Svelte because it's not a JavaScript file. We need to explicitly say what the extension is. Now that we have navbar, we can actually use it in our markup. So let's put it inside the router. So let's say like this navbar. Oops, apparently I didn't copy that, so I can just say navbar like this. And underneath here I want to put a container to push everything into the middle. This is, by the way, just materialized stuff. And here we need to put our routes. And if we would look at the page for the package, our routes are like this. And by the way, you can ignore this URL thing. This is only if you're using server-side rendering, so don't worry about that. And let's copy one of these routes. Let's copy the second one actually. And let's go back. Here we need to put routes, so let's put the home route. The path will be just slash, and the component will be home. And by the way, you can use the syntax, but you can as well omit these quotation marks. They're not important, so they're not necessary. So let's put another one here and say slash about, and this will be to the about component. Let's create these 2 pages. I'll create another folder, call it pages. This is a convention that I like to separate pages from components. This is not a Svelte convention. So here I'll say home.svelte, and I'll create another one as well, call it about.svelte. And in the about, I'm just going to put a header one saying about page just to differentiate between them. And here for now, let's put home page, and we'll come back to it of course and populate it more. And here we don't need link, so we can remove it because the links are in the navbar. And we need to import these 2 components. So here let's say import home from same level pages slash home.svelte, and then we can copy that, paste it one more time, select home and Control D and say about. Alright, let's save all files and let's look at our terminal. Everything is running fine. If we look at our app, right, where is it? Right here. If we reload, cool, we get this navbar and it's linking between the pages, but it looks kind of weird. Let's look at our app. I think it's got to do with the global styles. Yeah, there are some global styles here. I'm just gonna delete all of them. Let's look back to our app because we're gonna use materialized styling. Alright, let's put a container actually to push these buttons in. And for some reason this brand isn't, the font size is tiny on that, so actually let me check that. So inspect. It's actually not applying the class to it, so let's go back here to the navbar. The brand logo class is not being applied, so what we can do, we can just wrap this Svelte tutorial with a span with this class. So we'll give that class brand logo and then take that, put it inside of here and then wrap everything here. So let's cut everything inside of this nav wrapper and put a dot container tab and then paste back those links and let's save. And there we go. Now the navbar logo class is applied, so the text is bigger there and the links are pushed inside. So the routing is working now. We can start to work on the content on the home page. Let's start to hit our API and fetch the posts and show them here. So let's go to our app. Let's go to the home.svelte file. We can close this, close the global CSS and the app and everything else. And here I'll put a row. And inside of here, we want to show our posts, but of course we need to hit the API first and fetch these posts. So here I'll open the script tag. Let me close this terminal. Here inside the script tag, what we want to do, we want to fetch these posts when the component loads or mounts. So we need to import this lifecycle method called onMount. So let's say import onMount. This is in the documentation, of course, from Svelte. And here let's bring our API base URL. So here I'll say const API base URL because we'll need this to call the API. This is in the description, in the video description. And here let's initialize our posts object as an empty array at the beginning. So now let's call this onMount method and say onMount, and this takes a callback that happens when the component is mounted, and this is gonna reach this is gonna hit the API. So I'm gonna make it an async callback. So here I'll say async, oops, and here it's gonna be an arrow function, and inside of here I'll say const result or res equals await dot fetch. I'm gonna use fetch API. And I'm gonna give it the API base URL plus / posts like this. This is the route that gives us all the posts. And here we'll say posts, so this variable right here equals await res dot JSON like this. So the way fetch works is that you need to as well return response.json, and this returns a promise with the data that's got from that request. And now when we assign a value to post, our component will actually re-render. Now let's use these posts to display them on the template. Here I want to loop through these posts. So first I want to do a conditional, because if we're still fetching the post, I want to show loading posts. So here we'll open curly braces and do hash if, and this is Svelte template syntax, and we'll say posts.length equals 0. So if the length of post equals 0, that means we haven't got posts yet. So I'll do a header 3 and say loading posts ... So you can put a spinner here if you want, and here we'll say else. So else, if we have any posts, if it's not 0 the length, we want to loop through them. So we'll open another JavaScript expression and say hash each, or just an expression, and say posts as post like this. This is kind of similar to PHP if you've worked with it, this syntax, post as post. So here we'll say div.call S6. This is materialized stuff. I want each post to take half the width of the viewport of, or like the width of the container. And here I'm going to put a card, so .card, and inside the card we need card content, so .card content, and inside that div, I'm going to start with the title. So let's say paragraph p dot card title. And inside of here, we'll do curly braces to put dynamic values. And now that we have access to this post, we can use what comes inside of the post. By the way, you can CRUD this API on Postman or something, and you'll find that posts have a body, a created at, a user ID, and a title. So here we'll need to say the title because this is the card title. So we'll say post.title like this. I want to show as well the created at. So here we'll say p, and I'll say curly brace post.created at like this. And let's put the body of the post. So here paragraph, another one, and say post.body like this. Here we need to close the each tag. So here we'll say, we open curly braces and we say /each, and this will close that tag. And here we need to close as well this if statement. So here we'll say curly brace /if like this. All right, let's save this and see what this looks like. Let's go to our app, and there we go. We're getting 3 posts, which are all the posts that are in the database right now. If we reload, we'll see loading posts for like a brief second before the actual posts load. All right, so let's add the 2 buttons for editing and deleting, and I want to style this a bit to make it look better than that. All right, let's go back. So underneath this div, this card content div, I'm gonna add .card action, and here we'll have 2 links. So one anchor tag with doesn't go anywhere, and this is gonna be the edit post. So here we'll say edit, and I'm just gonna copy this and add another one, which is gonna be delete. And I'll give this a class to later style it. So I'll give it a class of delete -btn. Let's save. Let's see what these look like. All right, they look okay. And I want to style this delete button. So here, let's open up a style tag. And by the way, these styles are scoped to these components. So any style I write here will not go to any other component, even if the component is inside of here. So here we'll style the delete button. So I'll say delete -btn. I just want to give it like a color of red, and I'm gonna give this important for it to apply. And I want to style the card title, so I'll say .card content .card title to target that. And I just want to, there's this syntax completion is a bit weird with this extension right now, but I guess that will be fixed in the near future because this is fairly new. So here we'll say margin bottom. I want to give it a margin bottom of 0, and I want to style as well the this date, the created at. So I'm going to give it a class. Where is this? Right here. I'm going to give it a class of time stamp, and here we'll say, so we can just copy this. Instead of card title, this will be p.timestamp, and I'll just give this a color of like gray, like #999, and I'll give it some margin bottom so it separates itself from the body. So margin bottom of 10 pixels. All right, let's see what this looks like. All right, it looks better. So let's go back. Now we can make these into a component by itself, but we're gonna make some other components, so I'll show you how to make components anyways. Here, let's give these 2 buttons a callback, like a function that will be triggered when they're clicked. And for this, we're gonna use the on directive. So here we'll say on : and now we give the type of the event. So here we're gonna give the event click, and then say equal and open an expression. And here we can pass a function that will be triggered once this button is clicked. So here I'll pass a callback, because otherwise it will trigger it right when the component is rendered. And here I'll say edit post and pass it this post. And here as well, we're gonna give delete another event. So here I'll say on : click equals, and here I'll give a callback to delete post, and I'm gonna pass the post ID. And we're gonna implement these later, but for now I'm just gonna have them print something to the console. Okay, there's a mistake here. All right, like this. Let's go up here in the script tag. Let's create these 2 functions. So here we'll have edit post. We'll take a post, And for now, it's just gonna console log it. So we'll just console log post like this. Actually, I need to use the keyword function. Let's create the delete post as well. So function delete post will take an ID, and for now I'm just gonna say deleting post with ID, and just concatenate that ID. Let's save. Let's see if these are running properly. So let's open the developer tools, the console, and I'm gonna put this side by side. And here, if I press edit on this, actually it doesn't do anything. Let's go back. Okay, I made a mistake here. Let's save that. Let's go back to our app, refresh, and here if I click edit, there we go, it's printing that post that we clicked on edit. And if I click delete, it says deleting post with ID something something, which is the ID of this post. Alright, cool. So let's go back to our app. Let's create the form that we will use to submit a post to the server. So on top of this row, I'm gonna add another row at the top here and say .row. And here I'm gonna have it take half the width, so I'll say .call.s6 tab, and inside of here, don't worry about that, pretty format it. I'm gonna put the form, but I'm not gonna put the whole form here. I'm gonna just put the component and make it into its own component. So here I'll say post form, and then just leave it like this. And let's import that and then create it. So here I'll say import post form from. I'm gonna create a folder, call it components, and actually here we're inside pages, so we have to go back one level and then say components / post form dot svelte, like this. And here let's create this folder, components, and inside of components I'm gonna create the post form dot svelte. So here we'll write our form. We'll say we'll say form. Don't know why form doesn't work. I'll just say form like this, and this will have a submit event. So we'll say on, and the event will be submit equals, and we will call a function that we'll call on submit like this. And let's close this form. And inside the form we'll have a div with the class input field, and this is materialize stuff, just to style it with the materialize. Here we'll have two fields, one field for the title and one for the body. So here we'll put a label for title, and it will say title like this. And here we'll put the input for that title of type text. And this here, what we need to do is we need to bind the value of this input with a value in our component, with a variable. So Svelte has a two-way binding, meaning that we can use a directive called bind, and then give, say, colon value equals. Now we want to give the name of the value that we're going to use, which we'll call title, which we haven't created yet, but we will. So now whenever title this input changes, it will change title in our component, and if title as well changes, the value of the input will change. This is what two-way binding means. So let's copy this entire input field and paste it here, and here we'll change, this is a label for body, and this will say body, and this variable here as well will be called body. Let's add a submit button, so we'll say button with type submit, so colon submit and click tab, and we'll give it some classes to style it with materialize CSS styling. We'll say waves effect, waves light, and btn as well, and this button will say add because it adds a post. And here let's open a script tag, and I don't know if it's the Svelte extension or if it's prettier. It's probably the Svelte extension, but you can put the script tag underneath the markup, and if you save, the script tag will go up to the top, which is pretty cool. And the same thing with style, because logically style should be before the HTML, because that's how cascading style sheets work. And if I save, the style tag will go up above the template, which is pretty cool. Alright, so let's go to the script. So here we'll declare these two variables, the title and the body. So we'll say let title equals an empty string, and let body equals an empty string. Alright, now we don't have any red squiggly lines, but we have this green squiggly line telling us that it's not the on submit is not defined. So let's fix that. Here we'll say function on submit, and we'll say it takes an event, and of course first thing we do is say event.prevent default like this. I don't know why I added that underscore. Just prevent default like that. And here I'll do like a very basic validation and say if title dot trim equals, don't know why it's replacing these functions, equals an empty string, or body dot trim. Don't know why it's changing these. Trim is a JavaScript function. This is a bit weird, but let's bear with it. If any of these two is an empty string, then we just return, because we don't want to submit this because this is invalid data. You can of course show some validation errors, but that's kind of JavaScript. I want to focus on Svelte more for this tutorial. So if not, we have these fields, then let's form this post and send it to our server. So here we'll say const new post is an object which will have a title of the value of title, so we can just say title like this and body like this. Now let's bring our base URL from here. Let's copy this and put it right here. And now we need to send a request, a post request to our database to persist this post. So we'll say, actually we'll use async await. So here we can make this an async function. We add the async keyword, and here we'll say const response equals await fetch, and we do backticks, and here we'll say $ curly brace API base URL, and we concatenate /post because this is the route that we post to. And here we'll say comma, and we pass some options, including the method. So the method will be a post, so method post like this, and the body of the request will be json.stringify, or actually stringify like this, stringify, and we pass it the new post that we just created. So now when we get that data, now we need to get the post from that data. So we'll say const post equals await res.json. Oops, I don't know why it's changing these variables. It's a bit annoying. It's very strange. Okay, let's save all files. Let's look at our app. And we broke it. OnSubmit is not defined. Okay, because here this is a capital S. OnSubmit like this. All right, so we get our form. And if we type anything here, so let's say post from Svelte, if we leave this empty, it shouldn't submit anything, and it doesn't. And if we type some gibberish here, we click add, I think it does send a request. If we look at network post, all right, so it sends a request and the status code is 201, so it's been created. Of course, we're not adding any code to show it here, but if we refresh, we see that that post has indeed been posted. I want to do something here. I want to have a loading boolean, and when we send a post, it will actually show us a spinner bar that indicates that we're actually communicating to a backend. So here I'll create another variable, call it loading. So let loading equals, initially it will be false, and here when we submit the form, if it's valid, then first thing we want to do, we want to set the loading to true. So we'll say loading equals true. This is as simple as that. Just the fact that we change this variable, and this variable is used in the markup, just the fact that we reassign it to a different value, it's actually going to re-render our markup. So we set the loading to true, and then we communicate to our server, and once everything is done, we set the loading back to false. So we say loading equals false, false like this. Now in our markup, let's cut this form, and here let's do curly braces, hash if, and we'll say if not loading, then we want to show this form. And then here let's say else, so colon else, and here else, if we're loading, let's do dot progress, and this is materialize CSS stuff, and here we'll say dot indeterminate, and this will give us like an indeterminate loading bar or progress bar. So here we'll close that if statement. We'll say /if like this, and let's save. Let's go back to our app. Now if we put some stuff here and we hit add, there we go. We see that loading bar for a second, and then it goes away once the loading stops. Let's actually make that loading bar go a bit in the middle and give this some padding so that it looks a bit better. So let's go back here. And what's cool about Svelte is that we don't have to give this a class and style it. Just because this is just in this component, we can just say form and then style this form, and none of the other forms in any other page will get the style because this is scoped to this component. So here I'm just gonna give it some margin on all sides of 50 pixels. And here we'll say I want to style the progress bar, so I'll say progress, and I'll give this a margin top and bottom of 100 pixels and left and right of 0. So let's save this. Let's look at our app. So alright, cool, the form looks much better now, and if we submit something else, that bar is in the middle here. Alright, let's work on actually adding this post to our post list. Now, if by the way, of course I'm getting all of this from the documentation. Svelte has some really cool documentation. If you go to examples, you can even fiddle with the code and change the examples and how they work. And there's this thing right here called event forwarding, which is what we're going to use to communicate between the inner and the outer components that we have. So if you see here, it actually dispatches an event from inside of a component that's nested inside this component, and then based on that event, the outer component will perform some action. So let's copy this import from here, this create event dispatcher. Let's copy that. Actually, let's copy both of these because we need that. Let's go here. Let's paste this at the top, and yeah, we can keep that there. And then after we get the post, we want to dispatch this event. So let's dispatch an event, and we just say dispatch like this. Let's call this event post created, and we can pass a payload. So the payload will actually be this post. Now we can listen to this event on any other component and then catch that and then get this payload and do whatever we want with it. So where we want it in the home page. So here in the home page, I'm going to go down here where we add our form, and I'm going to listen to that event. So I'll say on, and here put the name of our custom event and say post created. So on this event, we're going to call a function, and I'm going to call this add post. Simple as that. Let's go up here and create this add post. Now we want to create a function that adds that post that we got to this post array that we have. So here I'll say function add post. And if you look at the documentation, you will see that the event right here, actually if we look at app.svelte, the event has this property detail which holds our payload. So here in our add post, we can destructure it straight away. So we will destructure detail, and we can do colon and give it another name because it's because it makes more sense to call it post here instead of detail because it's actually a post. So here, now that we have that data, we just want to add it to our posts. So we can simply say posts equals, and we do an array, and we want to put it at the top. So we'll say post, comma, and then we spread our existing posts like this. Now, be careful with this. You don't want to do posts.push or unshift, because when you do that, you're not assigning a new value. You're changing the variable, but you're not assigning a new value. So that wouldn't actually cause a re-render. You want to do posts equal, and then you actually add your data. So let's save all files, and let's look our app and see if this is working. So it's right here. Let's refresh just in case, and we can say post to be added. Add this post, and we click enter, and there we go. Our post is actually added to our front end, but our form is not resetting. So let's fix that. Let's go here. So in our form, when we submit that and we dispatch the event, we can simply say title equals an empty string and body as well, or we can say title equals body equals empty string. So we reset both of them. Alright, let's look at our app, reload just in case, and let's put some gibberish. That gets added and the fields are reset. Sweet. Let's now implement this delete button. Give it some actual functionality. So let's go here in the home. So we already created this delete post function, but it doesn't do anything. So here we will say fetch. And the way our API works, we want to send to the URL /post / the ID of that post, and we want to send it as a delete request. So here we'll want to concatenate we'll say a curly brace $ curly brace API base URL, and close that curly braces /post / and then concatenate the ID as well. And then here we want to pass some options, And in the options, we only want to say that the method is a delete method. And here we can use the dot then syntax, and then here we say response. And by the way, just because I'm using async there and the dot then here, I wouldn't do it in a project. I'm just showing you that there are multiple ways of doing this. In one of my projects, I'll still stick to one way of doing things to maintain readability. So here with the response, we want to return res.json like this, and then chain another dot then, where we get, actually we don't need any of the result that's returned, nothing gets returned. So we just want to actually remove that post from our front end. So here we'll say posts equals, and we'll say post.filter to remove that post, and our filter will be post, where post id does not equal this ID, which will now remove all the posts that don't have this ID. Keep just the posts that don't have this ID, meaning that it will only remove that post. So let's save that. Let's look at our app. Let's reload just in case. If we delete this, it actually goes away. If we delete this, it goes away. Let's add a pop-up, like a confirm pop-up that, you know, just in case people don't delete everything by mistake. So let's copy all of this. And here we'll say if confirm, and the confirm will say, are you sure? So if they click OK on that, we actually want to send that post, that request. And now if we click delete, it asks us, are you sure? If we click OK, it actually deletes it. All right, let's now work on the edit button. So let's go here. So this is called from the post form, or actually no, from the home. So what we want to do now is that we want to, when we click on edit, we want to pass the details of that post down to this form and then populate the fields of that form with those details. So here, when we edit a post, we're going to set a new property. Here I'll call it editing post. And initially this will be, we will have a body that's an empty string, a title that's an empty string, and an ID that's null. Because the way our API works, when we want to edit a post, we want to send the body and the title and the ID as well to know which post to edit on the database. So now when we edit post, we want to set this editing post to this post that we clicked to edit. So we will say editing post equals this post that we got here. Simple as that. But we want to pass this editing post to the post form as a prop. We can do post editing post equals editing post like this. But when we save, it's going to change it to like some really nice minimal syntax that I've been wishing that it would happen on React a while ago, which is just doing curly braces editing post, which is going to give that prop with that name and that value to our post form as well. Now we want to use that in this component and display those details. So let's go up here. Now what we can do, we can say title equals editing post.title up here. So we can say let title equals editing post.title, and do the same thing for body. Actually, I haven't tested this. I don't think it will update once we, yeah, it won't update. Actually, there's a problem. It says editing post is not defined. Okay, I know why, because we need to declare editing post as a prop that we can get from outside. So we need to say export let, remember, like that was on the app as well for the property name. So we need to say the same thing for editing post. When I say export let editing post, this will tell this component that we can receive this as a prop. So let's save. Now if we look at our app, so that's fine, but the problem now, they're set to an empty string, but if we click edit, it will not change because it's not tracking any changes. The way we fix that, we can just use this syntax. We can say $:, and we can do the same thing for body here. And this it will tell our component, will be like, look, we will assign this value, but whenever editing post.title changes, then assign that value again to title. So this is reactive to editing post. So if we save this, Now that should fix it. So here if we click edit, there we go. We get the details from this component, from this post to our form right here. So if we click here, we get those, and we click here, we get those. That's pretty cool. I want to as well change the button from add to update once we are in actually editing mode. So there's a simple trick. So right here, once our editing post has some value, when we click here, it will also have an ID, because by default it's null. So we can use that as a conditional. So down here, instead of just add, we will put an expression. So we'll do curly braces and we'll say editing post.id question mark. So if this is not null, we will say update. Else if this is null, that means we're in add, or we're in creating mode, we'll say add. Let's save that. Let's look at our app. So by default it says add when the ID is null, but when we click on edit, it becomes update. Cool. Let's now add the logic for actually reaching to our server and updating this post. All right, let's go back. So this will happen through the onSubmit as well, of course. But now what we need to do, we need to add a new thing here. We will say, because if we have an ID, we will actually send a post request to API/post/that_ID, and then it will be a put request to edit that post with that ID. So here we can just say condition, and we'll say if editing post.id. So if it's not null, then we're gonna actually update a post. We're gonna form a URL. Let's say here we can say, actually we need to declare these outside because we will need them later. So we'll say we'll create these two variables, URL and method as well, because the method could be either a post or a put. So here we'll say URL equals, let's do backticks, and form our URL will be API base URL like this /post/this ID. So we can do $ curly brace and we can just copy and paste that inside. So that's our URL. And of course now the method will be put because we're in edit mode. So we'll say put like this. Else if the ID is null, that means we're trying to create a post. So the URL will be backticks, and we'll say curly brace, and we'll say API base URL /post, and the method will be post. And now we can say we can send the same request, but instead we can send it to URL because this could be different, and the method is just method, so we can just omit this and send the same body. So here let's save, and this should work. So let's look at our app. Let's put these side by side, and let's look at our network tab. Let's clear that. And now if we just, I'm going to refresh just in case. Now if we just submit a post, I'll put, I can't type in these fields. Okay, I can't type in these fields because I didn't change these values. Now these values should actually be from editing post. So here I'll say editing post.title and .body. This should fix that. Let's go back. All right, now I can post. I can type. All right. So here, if I just send this, this should be a post request. Okay, here it says URL is not defined. Let's see that. Okay, this is URL. I don't know why the autocorrect is changing my variable names. That's very weird. I hope they fix this extension. All right, now it should work. If I put some gibberish and click add, and if I look at the network tab, it sent a post request to /post. But now if I click on edit, the same one, and give it just like a bunch of V's like this, and click update, and if we go back, it's right here. Okay, so this is a put request and it's gone successfully. But of course the problem now, it's actually added it because we didn't change the logic to add post in the home component. So let's do that. So let's go to the home component. So here in add post, we want to check if we already have that post, then we just want to edit it. We just want to replace it. So we'll do if posts.find post where post.id equals this post that we got.id. So if this is truthy, that means we already have this post. That means this post was probably being edited. So we just want to find the index of it and replace it in our existing posts. So we'll say const index equals posts.find index, and we want to find the index of post where post.id is the same condition that equals this post.id. Now that we have this index, we need to declare a new array and say let posts updated equal posts. So we're just making a copy of it right now that we will assign later. And now we want to edit this post updated. So post updated dot splice, and we remove, starting from the index, we remove only one, and then we replace it with this post. Now we can simply say posts, so our post equals posts updated, which will re-render. Else we just do this. All right, let's save and let's see what this looks like. So now if we want to edit if we want to edit this one as well and change it to like all x's like this, click update. There we go. It changes to all x's and it doesn't add a new one. Let's reset the form. Now the form should be reset from here. We can't reset it from inside, and this title and body don't exist anymore, so we can remove that. And here we can just assign it again to this. So we can just copy that, and after either of these happen, we'll just do this, paste this here. All right, let's go back. Now let's edit these from V's to W's like this, and we click update and the form resets. Cool. Let's add the post limiter that limits the number of posts right here. So let's go back here. Let's go down to the markup, and after the form here, I'm gonna add a column with the width S3, and here I'll put some text, say limit number of posts, and after this I'll put an input of type number, and this will have no name. I'll bind it to some value, and I'll call this value post limit, and it won't have any ID. Close that tag, and after this we'll have a button, and this will have a click event, so on :click. I want to call this set limit, and let's give it some materialized classes, waves effect, and waves light, and btn. Let's close that button, and it will say set. All right, let's create this method, this function, and this post limit and this set limit. So we go up here, say let post limit, and we'll create that function set limit. Let's go down here and say function set limit. We'll send a fetch. We'll say fetch to send a request, and then we can just copy this. So to the base URL slash posts slash that number. So we'll put the post limit right here, and it's a get request, and we don't need to say anything. We just chain then, and when we get a result, we wanna return res.json, and here we chain another then, and we will get the posts, and here we'll say, actually we want to give it a different name to not conflict with the posts that we already have, and we'll say posts equals posts data like this. All right, let's save everything. Let's look at our app. Let's give it a default value so it doesn't look empty like that, and let's give it like some margin on all sides. I'm just gonna give it some inline styling. Right, where is it? So it's this. I'm just gonna say style equals margin 50 pixels like that, and we want to give this post limit a default value of 6. All right, let's save. All right, it looks much better. Now if we want only 2 posts, we click set. It doesn't work. It's because reference posts, oh, I made a typo, my bad. So right here, this is posts, not psots. Let's save. Let's go here. Want to get 2. We said we get 2. 3, we get 3. If we put a massive number, we get all of them. All right, cool. Actually, I forgot to show you something. Let's actually build this app to see the bundle size of it. So here we're gonna stop this development server. What is it? npm run build. Yeah, it's npm run build. So let's say npm run build. Hit enter. Okay, it's built. Let's open this. Open reveal in Explorer. So we'll look at the public. The bundle is 196. Okay, that's unfair. Because that's most of it is coming from this materialized JS. All right, I'm gonna just comment that for now and build it. So npm run build, just to show you the actual bundle size of Svelte itself. All right, cool. So if we look at public now, it's 21 kilobytes, which is absurdly low. And 10 kilobytes or 11 kilobytes of this is actually coming from Svelte routing. So Svelte itself is only 10 kilobytes. I mean, this app itself, of course, there's no Svelte code inside of this bundle. It's just some JavaScript instructions with our own code, which is, this is insanely small and very efficient. So yeah, I hope this gave you like a good start with Svelte. I hope that you're excited about Svelte and you want to use it and learn more about it. Let me know in the comments if you guys are excited about Svelte, and please like this video and subscribe if you like this type of content. Make sure to hit the bell button. I've set up a Patreon account if you want to support me. That would mean the world for me. Anyway, thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.